What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So there's lots of news to go over here, but first I just want to thank you guys for all the great insight you gave me last week whenever I was asking for ideas and discussing the changes here for the channel for 2020. It was really helpful, and so many of you took the time to write long paragraphs and really give deep insight on your thoughts as far as ideas for changing, or just, you know, what your perspective is on the channel and what you like and what you don't like about it. And I love all that feedback. It was really helpful, and I really appreciate everyone who took the time to give me their feedback. It was really great, and honestly, there was almost no negative comments either. Even the criticism that there was very constructive criticism, which for a YouTube comment section is really impressive. So I'm honestly just really blown away by the community that we've built here. It was really it was a much better experience in the comments than I was expecting it to be, honestly. So thank you all so much. You guys are the best. So anyway, getting into the weekly update this week here, lots of interesting stuff. First off, we got a couple of Bronco leaks that happened this week. The first was from someone named Dan G, who posted on the Bronco 6G forums of the headlight for the full-size Bronco here this past week. And so looks great to me, very similar to, what we were expecting. So no surprises, at least in my opinion, but looks good. And hopefully we'll have the full reveal of the Bronco. They've confirmed it's going to be sometime in the spring here, so not sure when, but hopefully we don't have, hopefully it's less than 6 months away, so we'll have to see exactly when. But that was interesting to see, and thanks to them for posting that on Bronco 6G. Also on Bronco 6G, a user named Sherminiator posted a picture of a grill in a production mold, which is bold as far as leaks go. To show the mold is kind of crazy. And they claim this is the grill for the baby Bronco. Not sure where they got the picture from, but this picture is a little more perplexing and less straightforward, because originally it was rumored to be called the Adventurer, this baby Bronco. And I did show some spy shots of it last year whenever it first broke cover with its camo on. And so yeah, that's what the intel I had back then, as Adventurer was the leading name. But in the middle of this grill picture, you can see the stamping for the Bronco lettering. Now, this is not the normal Bronco, because that big headlight we just saw would not fit into that oval cutout you see in the grill there, meaning this is definitely different from the regular Bronco. But what this is, I'm not sure. Now, obviously, it's some variation of the Bronco if they're planning on using the name, but I'm kind of torn as to what this could be. So some people in the forum are suggesting it's going to be called Bronco 2. And clearly, Ford is not scared to use iconic names on all kinds of vehicles. And so I guess we shouldn't be too surprised that there's going to be more than one Bronco. Not sure how they're going to differentiate them, but yeah, I don't know. That's kind of one of the things that's a little iffy about this. Also, another thing that's weird. Now, this definitely seems like a legit picture, so it's just, as far as, I don't know how the marketing is going to play out on Ford's end. I think what we're seeing is real here. But another thing that's weird is that if you remember the dealer convention where the baby Bronco leaked out last year, those pictures show a vehicle which had a Ford grille that was kind of Raptor style and had the letters illuminated Ford, not Bronco, across the front, and that also had some round headlamps that looked more close to the regular Bronco there. But that vehicle was supposed to be the baby Bronco, the smaller one. So we have that, and clearly the grille and the headlights and the shape and everything is all very different. So either they changed the baby Bronco styling last minute and put this new oval headlamp design in there instead, or there's a potential there could be 3 different vehicles of this type. One could be the normal Bronco, which we see the headlight for. One could be the baby Bronco, which I guess could be what we saw at the dealer convention. Or maybe that's the one that's going to be called Adventurer, since it has just the Ford lettering there in the grill. So maybe that leak was the Ford Adventurer, and maybe that's separate from the baby Bronco. I have no clue what's going on. Hopefully we'll get info on all this stuff here in the first half of this year. But yeah, there's been also rumors on the Bronco 6G forum that could be multiple vehicles with the Bronco logo before these leaks came out this week. So it sounds like there's some fuel to this fire. So we'll have to see what ends up happening. But if you're a Bronco diehard fan, be prepared to have a similar experience to Mustang owners here with having multiple Broncos, one maybe not living up to its name as much as it should. We'll have to see. But Anyway, I'm very confused. We'll have to see what ends up happening there. For some less confusing news here, Genesis revealed a few shadowy images here, but they are official at least, of the 2021 GV80, which is their new SUV finally coming here. So we saw some leaked pictures a few weeks ago, and so those look basically the same as this. So this isn't a major revelation, but overall I think it looks very good on the inside and on the outside, and I'm looking forward to seeing some better pictures here and hearing more details soon, because we don't have any details yet. There's some pretty solid rumors that we can go on. Basically, it's going to be using the same Genesis twin turbo V6, most likely, be a rear-wheel drive platform with all-wheel drive optional, all that kind of stuff, but we don't have anything officially there yet. So these are supposed to be going on sale in South Korea this month. So we should have all the official stuff very quickly, but we know how there's much of a disconnect between the actual reveal in Korea and the one that we get here in the States. Because, for example, we're still waiting on the official US reveal of the Kia Optima, although they're like basically going on sale in South Korea already. So we'll have to see. My guess would be that they're going to roll this out around the Super Bowl time, but we'll have to wait and see. Other stuff here, another teaser. Lots of teasers this week. Subaru also teased the Levorg STI Sport. Sport is the operative word here. Not a full-blown STI model, but they're going to be showing this at the Tokyo Auto Salon. And so, we don't get the Levorg here in the US, and I've kind of mentioned how back whenever the normal new Levorg was revealed a few months back at the Tokyo Motor Show, I said how that's going to most likely give us a good look at the next-gen WRX front end. And so I showed that, and you can go watch that video if you want to see a couple of shots of that. But basically, now this version being the STI Sport is going to give us a better look at what a sportier version of the WRX could look like. This STI Sport branding is also a Japanese-only thing currently, but there's been talks in the past of Subaru wanting to expand the STI brand. I could very well see them doing an STI Sport version of the WRX here, a kind of like an R-Line version of the GTI or something, a similar mindset, and see something like that here for the next-gen WRX. So you might see a few of these bits actually show up on a US WRX. You'll have to wait and see. But anyway, some of the stuff that tells us this is a sport version, not a full-blown STI as well, is that there's a quick little shot in this little teaser video of a red line just barely over 6,000 RPMs, meaning this is most likely the new base engine they have in Japan, which is a 1.8 liter turbo flat 4 engine. Most likely will not be showing up here, although it could potentially someday be a new base motor for the Impreza or something, if they decide to ditch the naturally aspirated motor here. But anyway, also with that little tack shot, it looks like it could be a digital tack, unless it's just simulated and it's not an actual video and it's just like a Gran Turismo type thing. But if it is digital tack, that could mean we could be getting some new digital gauges as an option maybe in the new WRX. We'll have to wait and see on that. But anyway, the full reveal of this Levorg STI Sport is going to be January 10th, so I should have some more details for you guys on that next week, so stay tuned. Another teaser here this week comes from Mercedes-AMG. So they posted a video thanking their team for the great 2019 that they had, and at the end they showed an AMG GT 4-door here, which has camo on the back of it, and 4 exhaust tips, much like the AMG GT63S and stuff. But whenever this one accelerated away, there was just an electric whir, and I'll link that video above if you want to hear it. But basically, they're teasing most likely what is going to be the GT73 version of the AMG GT. So this is a new model. It's a top model that's been talked about for a good long while now. And it's going to be an electrified version of the 63 models, essentially, and just have even more power to try and draw people into the electrified thing. So, the GT63S was already crazy enough. I reviewed that a few months back. It was mind-blowingly fast. So that plus electric boost, I think they're actually going for hopefully having one of the fastest, if not the fastest, 4-door sedan on the planet. So I could definitely see them getting there. Even at the 2017 Geneva Motor Show, where they revealed a concept of this, that had 805 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. So we'll have to see if they get close to that here for the production version. Wouldn't be much of a stretch, though, honestly. So that's pretty believable, as crazy as those numbers sound. So we'll have to see, but also Autoblog noted that that 73 name has actually been trademarked already for the G-Wagon, the GLS, and the S-Class too. So expect all the top range models to get the 63 designation to probably be getting a 73 version as well. And so anyway, interesting to see that teaser, and we'll have to see how that develops here. Maybe we could be seeing an actual official reveal at the Geneva Motor Show this year in March. We'll have to see. Some other electrified news here. Jeep revealed at CES, which is going on this week, that all of its electrified models will be called 4xe, and they have the new logo there to show you. And so this includes everything. This badge is going to go on everything from the e-torque versions of like the Wrangler that I reviewed last year, through on to the hybrid, plug-in hybrid models, and all those as well. So that's like, for example, they did commit and confirm they're going to be doing the Renegade, Compass, and Wrangler plug-in hybrid versions. Those are confirmed to be coming this year, actually. That's something else they revealed here at CES. They said there's going to be more details to come at the Geneva Motor Show in March, along with more info, I'm guessing, for the US and the New York Auto Show, and which is in April. And there's going to be more info at the Beijing Motor Show, also in April, I'm guessing, for the Chinese markets and stuff. So lots more to come here on that, but shouldn't be any kind of massive change. There's rumors that the Wrangler plug-in hybrid could be getting something very similar to what you got in the plug-in hybrid version of the Chrysler Pacifica. We'll have to wait and see on all that. But anyway, that's that. They also did say that all Jeep models will be offering electrification by 2022. So in just 2 years, every single Jeep model will have some type of electrified option. Now, e-torque is pretty easy to implement, so you can still get basically a full-on gas version in 2022 still, but they'll all have at least that e-torque system most likely. So it worked very flawlessly in the Wrangler e-torque that I reviewed. So no complaints there. I think that's only going to improve those and give them a little bit of a more extended stop-start, essentially. That wasn't all the FCA showed at CES, though. They also showed this Chrysler Airflow Vision concept. And as a vintage lover, I am happy they brought back the Airflow name. And it's pretty cool. According to Chrysler, it envisions the next generation of premium transportation and UX, user experience. And so at CES, that's the buzzword. So, it's all about the infotainment and stuff. But as you can see, it's obviously very much a concept, even though it does look very cool in my opinion. But the elements you see for the front end and the back end could show up in the next gen version of the Pacifica, actually. So this actually is very nicely timed because Mopar Insiders actually just put out a report claiming that the Pacifica is going to be getting a comprehensive refresh early this year, and they claim it's going to have a sportier look with a bigger grille, sharper headlights, and new rear lights with a light bar connecting them. And that sounds pretty similar to this Airflow concept. Aside from the larger grille part, all the other components, I could see, obviously a more toned down version of what you're seeing on this concept could end up in this refreshed Pacifica. And if nothing else, it'll definitely be, I'm guessing this is the design direction for the next gen Pacifica, whenever that comes in a few years. But I think it's a really good design, especially I really like the way they did the tail lamps there in the back. They're not just a copy of Charger tail lamps or something. It's a little classier, and I think it looks great. Other stuff here, this report from Mopar Insiders also claims that the new plug-in hybrid tech that I was talking about in those Jeeps is going to be also coming into the refreshed Pacifica as well, to give it an all-wheel drive option that still allows the stow and go seats. So basically think of like how Toyota does their plug-in hybrid stuff, and their even just normal hybrid. You have an electric motor on the back giving you your rear driving wheels, and then the front is still front-wheel drive for the engine and stuff. So basically something similar to that, which means technically the Pacifica, if they, these changes will mean that it's when it's in electric mode, it'll be a rear-wheel drive minivan, which is pretty cool. So, but yeah, it sounds like we won't have too long to wait for the reveal. So maybe New York in April would make sense there for that. So we'll have to wait and see. Automotive News Europe talked with the COO of Kia's Europe division this week. And during this interview, they confirmed that a production version of the Imagine concept that they showed at last year's Geneva Motor Show, they're going to be doing a production version of that should be arriving in 2021. So really only about a year or so away. It'll likely be a full EV, and the car was brought up in response actually to, in this interview, they were talking about the tougher European CO2 regulations, which you can go back and watch my weekly update from a couple of weeks ago if you want a little bit of a breakdown on that, but it's getting strict, and it's really forcing all car companies that at least sell cars in Europe to just go really heavy into the electric stuff, whether or not people want it. And so there's gonna be a lot of changes here in the next year or two, and I'm not gonna get into that whole thing again. But anyway, so this Imagine concept, whatever the actual production version ends up being, that is going to be their way of dealing with the CO2 regulations and trying to, have a bunch more electric vehicles to hopefully help out their average. And so that's interesting. And if they do keep it as quirky as the Imagine concept, that means it should have these small rear hinged doors there for the back doors. And that could be pretty good competition for the new Mazda MX-30. It was revealed a few months back and could be kind of a cool sporty setup. Some other tidbits that the CEO mentioned are that at least for the European market, they're going to have a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle by the end of this year or early next as well. So think Kia's version of the Hyundai Nexo possibly. The Sorento is also going to be getting a hybrid and plug-in hybrid version as well. Now again, Europe is the priority for all this stuff because that's where they're getting all these heavy fines. And so maybe, once they catch up with demand in Europe, then maybe we'd get some of this stuff. I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll get it all eventually. It's just a matter of when. But anyway, interesting to hear that. And actually, if you want to read that article too, that interview is really interesting that Automotive News Europe did, because it really gives you a lot of insight into how automakers are being forced into doing this EV stuff. And it's very, very fascinating to me. But anyway, the last little bit of news here, getting back to some normal stuff, is a little bit of news about some changes for the Mazda Miata for 2020. So Cars Direct got an early order guide here, which revealed some of these changes, which they might not be official, but it all makes sense, and I'm pretty sure it is official here. I'm sure we'll hear confirmation of this stuff maybe in a few weeks. But anyway, first off, it sounds like all Miatas are going to be getting Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, at least for the Club and Grand Touring trims. For some reason, even though the base trims in all these new Mazdas has the same screen, they just deliberately are leaving out that smartphone integration for some reason. I guess they think it'll force people out of a base model into a higher model. I don't agree with that, but anyway, that's what they're going for, I think. And so at least it's going to be available now. I think on any other Mazda that doesn't have it, you can still upgrade it at the dealer for like $300 or something. Other things, the iActive Safety Sense safety technology that was previously optional on the Miata now is going to be standard for 2020. And this lines up with every car company basically making all these types of things standard. So this means that all 2020 Miatas, if this is accurate, will have automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic alert. So, and of course, all these things are very expensive, which drives up the price of the Miata just like it does on every other car that has this stuff now. So the starting price is going to jump by $850 to $26,580 before destination. So basically, you're looking at $27,500 for the cheapest Miata now, including destination. So it's still a good value, just not as good of a value as a 2019 in my opinion, unless you really want that stuff anyway. But I don't think many Miata owners do, to be perfectly honest. But other trims are going to be going up by various amounts that are pretty similar. I think some of the RFs go up by like $1,000 or so. Also, in addition to that increase, they did a little bit of a packaging change. So manual versions of the Grand Touring trim on the Miatas will go up another $890 additionally. But that's basically because they're all just now getting the GTS package as standard. It used to be an option. Now it's going to be standard equipment. And that gives you the Bilstein shocks, limited slip differential, the strut braces, and sport tune suspension. Chances are if you're buying a manual Grand Touring, you probably want that stuff anyway, so I think it makes sense to just make it standard. And although that is a bummer because it drives up the price, it really shouldn't drive up the price for most people that are actually buying these anyway, because I think most went for the GTS package. And again, that's only on those Grand Touring trims. And even with that, new extra jump, it's still, in the past, the manual Miatas were about $1,000 cheaper than the automatics. So now in the Grand Touring trim, essentially, you're going to be with less than $100 difference between the automatic and the manual. So it's not like you're paying more for a manual. It's just, it's not going to be any cheaper than the automatic like it used to be. So interesting there, not huge changes, but I am glad about the smartphone integration. And but you can still get a 2019 if you don't want all that safety stuff, and that's always good, and there's always used ones as well. But I think it makes sense to keep up with all the other stuff that other car companies are introducing here. But yeah, so that's it for all the news this week, guys. Let me know your thoughts and everything in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.